What if I told you that Nintendo withheld a ton of juicy and exciting news from you in the latest Nintendo Direct? Like the fact that Metroid Prime is releasing physically, but there's a catch. Tears of the Kingdom may make your wallet shed actual tears. And Level 5 is making more games for the Switch in the West than you may have realized. I'm Zian from Nintendo Life, and today we're going to be giving you the inside scoop on all of this and more in a brand new series that I'm tentatively calling Direct After. This is a series that I'd like to do after every Nintendo Direct, where I give you a deeper look and explain more things that were covered lightly in the Direct or maybe not mentioned at all. So if you like this format, let us know. Tell your pals about it. And with all that out of the way, let's tell you what we found out after the Direct. One of the biggest reveals that we saw in the latest Nintendo Direct is the fact that we're getting a Metroid Prime remaster on Nintendo Switch. And not only are we getting it, we actually already have it. It's available now to download on the Nintendo Switch. But that's not all. It's also getting a physical release. But depending on what region you live in, you'll actually have to wait a little bit longer if you want the physical edition. In North America, it's releasing on February 22nd for $39.99 US. And in Europe and Japan, it's launching on March 3rd instead. And while Nintendo did correctly cover this in the Direct, depending on which region Direct you were actually watching, let's say if you're from Europe and you were watching the North American Direct, you would have been told that it releases on February 22nd, but they didn't specify Europe or North America in that presentation, so you might have been confused. And as much as Nintendo is touting that this Metroid Prime release is a remaster, so many of the assets and textures have been remade to the point that this feels like more of an actual remake than a remaster. Now, we've already put together a video comparing the Switch release to the original GameCube version. And if you want to go take a look at that, we'll leave a link in the description down below so you can see if it's worth it for you personally to dive back in. Now, another big highlight for a lot of people was the fact that the Nintendo Switch Online service is now getting Game Boy and Game Boy Color games, and if you have the expansion pass, you can also get Game Boy Advance games. Right off the bat, you can play The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX, Super Mario Land 2, The 6 Golden Coins, you can play Wario Land 3 from the Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance got Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga, and eventually we're going to get titles like the Pokemon Trading Card game for Game Boy Color and Golden Sun on Game Boy Advance. We even got a title for the Game Boy Advance that North America never got, which is called Kuru Kuru Kuruin, I believe. I probably butchered that. But it's nice to see Nintendo putting in so much effort here. And the cool thing, just like with the Super Nintendo app and the NES app and the N64 app, if you download the Japanese versions of those, you can actually play some games that the North American versions don't have. Right now, unfortunately, there's only a Mahjong game called Yakuman for the Game Boy, but eventually the Game Boy service is going to be getting The Frog for Whom the Bell Tolls, which is actually, it did inspire The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. And the Game Boy Advance service is eventually getting Fire Emblem The Binding Blade as well, which is actually the game that Roy from Super Smash Bros. Came from. Now, unfortunately, none of these games will be playable in English. We'd have to wait for some sort of translation or patch. But if you want to download these and check them out, all you need is a My Nintendo account on your Switch that has Nintendo Switch Online, and then you need a Japanese account, and you just need to download the app, and then you can play them with your account that has Nintendo Switch Online. So my North American account has NSO, and my Japanese one doesn't, but you can still download the app and play the games through your own North American account. And maybe if we're lucky, we'll see more titles come to the Japanese version, like the Rhythm Heaven game that came to Game Boy Advance first. I believe is Rhythm Tengoku. And maybe we'll get Mother 3. Now, a common thing that happens during Nintendo Directs is sometimes we'll actually see regional differences. In this case, the Japanese Direct revealed a slew of other games that we didn't see here at all. One of which is called Natsu-Mon 20th Century Summer Vacation. This is basically a spiritual successor to Boku no Natsu Yasumi, which translates to My Summer Vacation. This is a really popular series in Japan that is mostly known for being released on the PlayStation. However, in North America, we did get a few spin-offs like Attack of the Friday Monsters and the Shin-Chan Summer Vacation game on Nintendo Switch. Those are all made by the same developers, Millennium Kitchen. Now, unfortunately, we haven't heard anything about a Western release for Natsu-Mon yet. As of right now, it's only releasing in Japan in the summer of 2023. But if Shin-Chan can come to the West, maybe Natsu-Mon can too. But there is some good news for another game. We actually got a look at Paranorma Sight, The 7 Mysteries of Honjo, in the Japanese Direct as well, and this is a new visual novel horror game from Square Enix. And the cool thing is this game actually is coming to the West, and we even have a North American trailer that we can play here. The game features branching paths and multiple endings and a really unique art style. And one thing that I took away from a press release on Square Enix's website is the fact that the game apparently will constantly surprise and shock you and mess with your expectations, and it's best to play the game without knowing anything. So I actually stopped reading about it, and I'm probably just going to give this a go when it comes out. And this is actually coming out pretty soon. This releases on March 9th. Now, as a lot of people probably expected and predicted, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom closed out the February 2023 Nintendo Direct. And before the Direct happened, there were a lot of rumors that Tears of the Kingdom was going to be retailing for $70 here in the US, $69.99. And Nintendo has officially confirmed that, yeah, Tears of the Kingdom is a $70 game, where most games in North America retail for $49.99, $59.99, $69.99 for a standard Nintendo Switch game with no extra bells and whistles is pretty surprising. The folks at Game Informer actually reached out to Nintendo for comment, and they responded by saying, "We determine the suggested retail price for any Nintendo product on a case-by-case basis." So this doesn't necessarily mean that going forward, all Nintendo Switch games are going to be $70. For example, on the eShop right now, Tears of the Kingdom is $70, but games like Pikmin 4, Bayonetta Origins, Advanced Wars, and Kirby are all still retailing for $59.99. There is a bit of a silver lining to this though, if you're a fan of digital games, as you can actually buy 2 game vouchers from the Nintendo eShop, and you can use those towards Tears of the Kingdom. You can buy 2 game vouchers for $100. And if you look at it this way, you could technically buy Tears of the Kingdom for $70 digital, and then by using those game vouchers, you can get another game that retails for $60 for half off. You can only pay $30 for it. And there are a lot of good games on that list as well. You could get something like Splatoon 3 half off, Fire Emblem Engage, or, well, we hope it's good, but Pikmin 4 is also on that list as well, and it looks pretty stellar. But if you're the kind of person that likes to buy physical games instead, you can pick one of these up and put it on your shelf instead, where it can live forever. It will never leave your grasps. Look at how snazzy this box art is. Whew, dang, that's some good box art. Hope the inside isn't blank. Now, as far as physical Legend of Zelda video games go, Nintendo also announced that Tears of the Kingdom is getting a physical collector's edition for $130. But at the time of recording this video, it's already sold out, and I can't get one. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. This time around, it comes with a steelbook, a poster, an art book, and a pin set. Now, I also want to point out that the Tears of the Kingdom Collector's Edition retails for $20 less than the Master Edition of Breath of the Wild, and that came with an actual statue replica of the Master Sword in stone. Now, these things are crazy expensive these days. I only have this because it was a birthday gift back in 2018, I think, and they paid a very high price to a scalper that I'm not happy about. I'm happy to have this, but scalpers suck. Don't do that. Now, my notes say that Nintendo is also making an amiibo for Tears of the Kingdom as well, of Link, doing that cool, like, arm force-like Star Wars pose that he has in some of the key art for the game. And that is still available for pre-order, last I checked, and that retails for $15.99. We're not getting a new amiibo price hike here or anything. And we also learned that Tears of the Kingdom is going to have some amiibo support. Quoting Nintendo on this, scanning amiibo from the Legend of Zelda series will also give you helpful materials and weapons. Or you can receive a paraglider fabric based on the amiibo that you scanned. Now, I'm assuming it's going to be kind of like a lottery system where you scan it in and you might get the fabric, you might get some meat, you might get a stick. I don't know. Hopefully we'll see more stuff like this as well, but I'm glad that it doesn't lock away any specific features this time. That's a nice thing. Skyward Sword amiibo, shame on you. Bad. Bad Zelda. Very cool amiibo, but bad effect. Now, one of my favorite things from the latest Nintendo Direct is the fact that Level 5 is coming back. If you're not aware, Level 5 are the creators behind the Professor Layton series, the Yokai Watch series, Fantasy Life. They did Ni no Kuni as well. They've done a lot of really cool stuff over the years. And in the Direct, we got a look at Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time, which is a true sequel to the 3DS original action-adventure life sim, which is launching sometime in 2023. We did get an online Fantasy Life game, or maybe it was a mobile game, I can't remember exactly, but it wasn't really the sequel to Fantasy Life that everybody wanted, but this new game seems to be the case. We were also given a tease of a new Professor Layton game called The New World of Steam. This is the first entry in the series that we've had in, I think, 5 years now, if you don't count the re-release that came to Switch in 2019. And I don't think a lot of people caught this either, but that brand new game Dekapon is also being developed by Level 5. It's got an incredible art style, a really unique gameplay concept, and it sounds like you'll be fighting back against corrupt police. It sounds like you're kind of a rookie detective joining the force, and there's this digital world that you use as like a training ground, and it ends up getting hacked while you're in it. And I'm not sure how the story is going to play out from there, but it sounds very unique, especially in the age where we keep getting remasters and remakes. So I'm all about this. And if you're hoping to hear more about these games, Level 5 is actually hosting a presentation at the end of February to talk specifically about one of their other upcoming titles for the Switch, Inazuma 11 Heroes Victory Road, which has been in the works for a very long time. I don't know if this game is coming to the West or not, but this presentation is going to be in Japanese. And so we wouldn't be surprised if they show off more of these other games that they're working on at some point during the event. And we'll be sure to keep you posted on all of that over at nintendolife.com at the very least. Maybe we'll make a video about it too, but keep your eyes glued to Nintendo Life on socials or on our actual website, and you'll find out about it when we know. Now, thankfully, Nintendo also revealed that Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp is officially coming out on April 21st. And we got a fancy new animated cutscene to celebrate the reveal as well. Now, one thing that I was curious about after they announced this game is if WayForward, the developers, actually took any time to spruce up the visuals a little bit, because I know a lot of people didn't really gel with the visuals too much. I don't mind them. I wasn't married to those original pixels, and I kind of like the toy box aesthetic of this new remake. But after taking a look at some screenshots that Nintendo sent over to us and comparing them to old screenshots, it doesn't really seem like much has changed. The visuals seem a bit more colorful, almost like the saturation was boosted up a bit, but that was the most that we could say. Otherwise, the game looks very much the same as it did a year ago, back when it was supposed to come out last year in April. And sure, it would be nice if extra effort got into spruce up the visuals, but WayForward is probably busy, and we're just glad that this game didn't get shelved forever. Now, some of you might know of the RPG board game called Dokapon Kingdom that allows you to draw on your friends' faces and steal their money. In-game, of course. Well, it's actually getting a Nintendo Switch remaster, or port. I don't know how spruced up it is, beyond the fact that it's getting online play, so you don't have to just play at home with your friends, which is a lot of fun to do. And I often would fall asleep when I would play. I'm sorry, friends. And Nintendo didn't actually tell you about this in the Direct, and I think it's a conspiracy. I think it's because they think Fortune Street is better, and it's not. Fortune Street is pretty boring. This game is way better. Play Dokapon when it comes to the Switch. As long as it doesn't suck, it's gonna be fine, right? It's just a port. Like, what could go wrong? Now, maybe you happen to get into the Atelier. Maybe you happen to recently get into it thanks to Ryza or Verona on the PlayStation 3, or one of the many PlayStation 4 titles, or maybe the Vita even had some titles. Maybe you played Annie on the DS. Well, you probably never played Atelier Marie because it never came to the West. But now it finally is. And in the Japanese Nintendo Direct, we got the first look at a full remake of Atelier Marie. And it's coming out this summer to the West as well. This game was originally released on the PlayStation 1 all the way back in 1997, and then it quickly got ported to Sega Saturn as well, but like I said, this was only in Japan. So this is the first time Western players will be able to officially play this game in English, and I think that's pretty slick. Wow, and it's over already, the Direct after. I mean, how long was this? I've been recording this for a while, but it can't be that long in the end, right? It says I have 841 hours of disk space remaining for recording, so we can just hang out for a while if you want, or you can go. You can go back into playing video games. So of course, let us know in the comments below if you found any of it useful. Let us know if there's something that you think we should have highlighted that other people should know about. Now, of course, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos like this, then why don't you click that subscribe button and then tell a friend how the experience was. Let them know if you learned something different about it. Maybe you read something online about the subscribe button, like the fact that you can actually ring the notification bell and then you'll be notified whenever we put a new video up. It's almost like we come to your house and then we ring a bell, just like telling you, hey, we put up a new video. Do you want to check it out, please? It's like being part of our exclusive club. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Zian from Nintendo Life. Stay safe out there, and we will catch you, hopefully, in the next Direct After.